Hello, YouTubers, friends, compatriots, bootlicker, shills, nut slaves, serfs, peasants, vassals, minions, porn addicts. Welcome. I'm a Useful Idiot, and I want to personally thank everyone out there right now that choose to watch my video instead of more porn. I appreciate that. So, what I'm going to talk about today is another study came out talking about how much time federal workers spend watching porn while they're at work. And we already know about some of the big stories over the years. Including the massive SEC bust, Security Exchange Commission. And we also know that this is a culture of porn watching at work that seems to be dominant in federal workers. But of course, as we know, it happens in the private sector as well. Corporations, there's a lot of that same stuff going on. I know from anecdotal evidence talking to friends of mine who work in the corporate environment, and a few times I've been in a corporate environment, there's a lot of porn watching going on. In fact, there's just a lot of frivolity going on all the time, and just using for computers for all kinds of different things. And of course, now we have a whole battery of different technical communication devices that we can use at work. But let's get to this. Let's get to this story because, as it turns out, government workers, once again, are being busted for watching porn at work, and their main excuse seems to be lack of work and boredom. So the main theme of the video and why I wanted to do it is because what we find out is that in spite of these bloated bureaucracies, in spite of these bloated staffs at all these corporations and all this talk about productivity, we still see a massive amount of people watching porn, and they don't have enough work. So anyway, let's get down to some of these gruesome details. A sampling of IRS workers found that they use about half of their online time at work for visiting porn sites, gambling sites, trading stocks, chat rooms, social networking, and other non-work activities. So we can see why the IRS recently had their funding cut. And it's surprising they had any time at all to target conservative groups when they're all watching porn, although I suppose there's a lot of overlap. And the survey showed that some 16,000 employees used 8,000 hours out of 16,000 hours online doing personal business. So just a sampling of 16,000 found out that they spent half their time doing personal business. 23% were using online chat rooms, 20% were doing personal finance, 7% were shopping online. And so porn, of course, is number one. And at the same time, 37% of the phone calls to the IRS went unanswered, and 47% of time, 47% of the time, incorrect information was given. So these highly trained bureaucrats working for the IRS, that 50% of the time give you correct information if they bother answering the phone at all because they're watching porn. So this gives you a glimpse into the inner workings of our government. In a separate report, they found out that 47% of 82,000 incoming emails were personal. So once again, most of the email going in and out, and a lot of that stuff is porn related, as a matter of fact, too. And let's not forget that with emails. A third of workers pass around porn, as it turns out. There's a 2004 report, Porn at Work Persists. This is something else I found out, that there was a report after report after report of this total awareness that everybody in corporate America and everybody in government jobs are watching porn, but it just keeps continuing year after year. This is a report from 2004, Porn at Work Persists. They found out a third of workers pass around porn, 50% of workers show explicit material at work, and they took a cross-section of 350 different corporations in the U.S., U.K., and Australia, and found out in the corporate sector that 50% of workers show pornographic work to other workers, and a third of them pass around emails, and 28% had watched porn at work. So this is corporate America, U.S., U.K., and Australia. 28% watched porn at work. And interestingly enough, in the U.K. and Australia, they're actually more likely to watch porn than the U.S. And only 25% of companies have fired people for porn. And then there was a 2008 report that came up with a figure 25% of people watch porn at work. And then we have a 2001 study that showed that 20% of the people surveyed watched porn at work. So we're getting this spectrum around 20, 25, 30%. So I think reasonably, considering most people lie, even in surveys, about watching porn at work, we can safely say that it's probably 50% of people watch porn at work. Maybe 40. Let's be nice and say 40% of people have watched porn at work. And so let's get back to some more of these statistics, or actually some of these highlighted stories that we've heard over the years. Of course, who could forget the Securities and Exchange Commission busted for watching porn from 2005 to 2010. Let's remember this was at the height of the last economic collapse, and the SEC should have been overseeing these banks. Instead, they were watching porn, which once again, there's probably some overlap. And 24 employees in 8 cities had visited 1,800 sites in 2 weeks, and some of them had downloaded so much porn they actually had to load it into discs, into boxes, and keep it in its closet, which is a hell of a lot of porn. And then there was a case in 1995 where Chevron paid $2.2 million for a sexual harassment case involving employees passing around an email called, quote, as 25 reasons beer is better than women, unquote. So that cost them $2.2 million. And then we found out in 2012 that the employees at the Missile Defense Agency were warned, internal memos warned not to watch so much porn. Then in 2004, an IBM employee fired for spending daily hours on sex chat sites, and then he turned around and sued the company, claiming he was disabled by internet addiction and should therefore be covered under the Americans with Disabilities Act. And he also claimed it was medication for his Vietnam experience. So that was an interesting story, certainly worth passing on. And then there's a story about paralegals in the patent office who were for years spent all their time watching TV, shopping online, exercising, and spending time on their tablet computers. And just in the patent office, it was estimated that $4 million was spent on hours not worked. And the other thing is we find this permeates pretty much every department in the government. It seems they've busted people in the Treasury, the FCC, the Housing and Urban Development, the Commerce Department, the General Services Administration, the EPA, the Patent Office. So pretty much looks like every single bureaucracy was spending a great deal of time watching porn. In fact, one EPA worker was watching porn 6 hours a day. And of course, the other part of this that you would guess is that there's no punitive results. Very rarely is any of these people fired or even punished. And since we see reports year after year after year after year of people watching porn at work, obviously they're not addressing the problem. So it seems to be helping the corporate culture in America and helping our government run more smoothly. And I haven't seen any mentions of how much malicious malware must be unleashed on corporate computers and government computers if they're watching all this porn, which is certainly notorious for malicious malware. And so there we have a quick look, and that doesn't even include the fact that now, of course, you add cell phones and smartphones and hand computers and tablets and everything else to the scenario. And between watching porn at work and sexting, texting, talking on the phone, and looking at videos on your phones and your computers, it's a miracle that anybody gets any work done. And that's my bottom line, I think, is just the fact that here we have this economic calamity in this country, and the middle class is being decimated. And yet in the midst of this, we still have this culture where people are spending a lot of time being unproductive. Certainly don't seem to be that concerned about whether they're going to hold on to their jobs. And they have little to do. They're bored at work. And this is especially troubling for corporate America, where the salaries are so much higher than a lot of middle-class work. And then even all the more disturbing, we have a government where we have such a high percentage of these bureaucrats and these workers and these drones who don't have enough work and are bored and are spending most of their time watching porn while American taxpayers, if they are lucky enough to have jobs, are paying for their fat salaries and paying for their fat pensions so that when they retire, they'll have lots of free time to watch even more fucking porn. I'm a useful idiot. Don't you be one too.